there are some CEOs out there who want to do everything, and it's hard for them to let go of control.
This is key.
Yeah. And then there's some CEOs who want to give up control, but they're worried that if I let go of control, it's not going to get done well. For both of those CEOs, I'm saying that there's a solution. The solution is so how do you as a CEO maintain good communication with your support staff? Now that they're gone, and essentially I would lump them with the freelancers. The freelancers, on the other hand, don't have the same relationship that those internal employees once had.
Or engagement. Yeah.
Right? So they're the ones who maybe have had to work a little bit harder to better understand your goals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the benefit of freelancers is they're outsiders. So it's easier for them to give you a more objective viewpoint. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's not biased, but I'm saying it's more objective. So now you have these two people who are out there working for you, and both of them need guidance. Both of them need this document, essentially. So here's how this would work if you're the CEO and you have an employee who, let's say is your chief marketing officer who works remote now because of everything that's going on. And there's this general trend towards that. When you are communicating an idea, a concept with your chief marketing officer, and there's a disagreement on what you should do, how you should proceed, let's just pull out the CoreBrief. Let's take a look at our values. Let's take a look at our mission. Let's take a look at our purpose. Let's take a look at our positioning statement and our positioning strategy. And does this concept fit with that guiding principle, that North Star of our business, which is the CoreBrief? I mean, you're also going to want to look at a marketing brief, but the marketing brief is built off of your CoreBrief. Your CoreBrief is everything. So as your CEO, in a moment where you're maybe looking at different concepts with your CMO or with your CDO, your chief design officer, having this document is going to help you make an informed decision that is something everybody has agreed to. Because again, when you're onboarding people into your business, they should read the CoreBrief, right? They're increasing the impact of the brand that's going to have out in the world. So they're a larger stakeholder than maybe just a customer. So they should especially read this. They should, because they need to embody this. So you've hired somebody who's agreed to these values, this mission statement, this purpose. They knew what this company was about when they signed on. Mm-hmm. So when you say this doesn't align with our values, which is something that is pre-accepted, then it becomes much easier to have a conversation about what should be, okay, well, how do we live up to our values and stay within this concept? If it, is that possible? If it's not possible, let's move on to another concept. If it is possible, I'm open to it as long as it hits these notes. So that's how it helps you as CEO dealing with a C-level. If you're a CEO dealing with the lower level, then, for instance, let's say you're hiring a graphic designer to do your logo. Okay, this whole product actually, I would say, stems from this need, because I used to be the person getting the job, which I'll talk about later. But as a CEO, you want to make sure that this freelancer has all the information that he needs in order to create a proper logo. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's going to need a creative brief, and I believe that is the role of the designer to give to the client, because the client doesn't know what you need. But as a CEO, you should have the CoreBrief. The designer shouldn't ask you for the CoreBrief. you should already have it and say, hey,
Yeah, it's your responsibility.
here you go. Before you do a logo, I want you to look at my brand avatar, which is a manifestation of our brand if it were a person or an animal or a thing. I want you to look at this brand avatar, and I want you to understand it before you go ahead and give me stuff, because this is how I'm going to judge your work, right? So as a creative, as a designer, you're like, fuck yeah, finally. Like, I got a guy who knows what he wants.
For chains?
Oh my God. Like, I'm only going to have to do 3 concepts and you'll approve the first one because, communication
It's
is
on
everything.
point. Yeah.
I would say just to sort of sidestep, as a designer, I ended up saving my clients tons of time because I asked more questions.
And money.
And I
Eventually. Yeah.
I mean, of course, time is money. So I would say for my clients, because for them, it was alleviating a headache. It was, how do I make this as effortless as possible so I can churn, through marketing material, with the same assets that I have, just boom, 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 boom. How do you support a multi-million-dollar empire if you don't have your assets in alignment? But I couldn't have created those assets if I wasn't either A, given full control, or B, told what the rules were, right? So there are some CEOs out there who want to do everything, and it's hard for them to let go of control.
This is key.
Yeah. And then there's some CEOs who want to give up control, but they're worried that if I let go of control, it's not going to get done well. For both of those CEOs, I'm saying that there's a solution, and the solution is this CoreBrief. CoreBrief now essentially creates your law for your business. And if they don't agree, they can leave. It's a free world. Not everybody needs to say. There's 7 billion people, like we talked about earlier. You don't need that many employees. It's really important that the people who work for you understand what you're fighting for and agree with it. And even better, are excited about it. If they're excited about it, they're going to be a huge asset to your team.
And I would say the most important one.
Yeah.